Hello, my name is Mike Jones with the Oracle Applications Users Group. Welcome everyone to this session of OAUG e-learning, Introduction to Explorer Series, Master Data Structures, Approvals, and the International. Before I get started, I'd like to go over a couple of housekeeping items. You'll be on mute throughout the presentation. If you'd like to ask a question, please type it into the question box in your control panel at any time. Once the presentation is concluded, I will read the questions back so the presenter can respond. We are recording this session. It will be available shortly to attendees after the webinar is over with. I'd like to introduce you to your presenter, Tom Simkis with De Novo Ventures. Take it away, Tom.
Thanks, Mike. Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning if you're on the West Coast or Mountain Time. Thank you very much for participating in today's web session, Introduction to the Explorer Series, Master Data Structures, Approvals, and of course the International Approval Series as well. What we're going to do is we're going to give you a brief introduction to the Explorer series. I'll talk a little bit about myself very briefly because I'm not the main focus of this. And then we're going to go through the Explorer sessions. And this is just going to highlight spread from beginning to end throughout the life cycle of a particular process flow or topic. So the Explorer series was started in 2011 by the special interest groups. It's a collaboration effort among special interest groups, and we focus on a single-threaded topic and allow conference attendees to participate from beginning to end of that topic. It is sponsored and supported by the OAUG, and special thanks to Mohan Iyer of the General Ledger Special Interest Group, and he was actually the co-chair of the multinational SIG with me at the time that he came up with this idea. Karen Brownfield, who is of the OAUG Board of Directors, has been a tremendous supporter of ours, and she's actually going to be one of the presenters in the Explorer series this year. And finally, I'd like to give thanks to Hans Colby, who is the co-chair of the multinational SIG with me, who is also presenting this year and also contributes to many of the concepts and topics that we have on an annual basis. It is sponsored and driven by the SIG, so the reason that it's important to note that is this is a user group, and you, the users, are the ones who control the topics. This year, just as in years past, the topics we will be presenting are ideas given to us by the users to the special interest groups and communicated to the SIG leads. So if there's a specific topic or area you'd like to see covered, please do reach out to your special interest group leader and let them have your ideas. We can get those covered in future sessions. A little bit about myself. I am the Vice President of Consulting for De Novo Ventures, a base platinum partner focused on J.D. Edwards, Oracle EBS, and Oracle Cloud, as well as Managed Cloud Services. I have over 21 years industry experience. My hair used to be a little blonder than it is now, but I've done Oracle applications all the way from 10.7 Smart Client to 12.2.4. Over 15 full-cycle cloud implementations. Started doing cloud about 3 years ago, and we have over 30 clients live at the time, instead of 15 of which I have participated in one way or another. Have a lot of prior Collaborate sessions, which you can see some of them here. Most of those are available on the internet or, of course, on the OAUG website. I'm a member of the Pennsylvania and New Jersey Bar Association, as I am an attorney, and I'm also a certified public accountant in the state of New Jersey. You can follow me on Twitter at Thomas Simkis, or you can reach me via email, which will be presented at the end should there be any questions. All right, so let's talk about the Explorer series. There are a few sessions this year. The first one I'm going to give you a highlight on is the International Explorer series. What we've done is we've actually grabbed presentations from the OAUG, which is the Oracle Applications Group from Germany, and we put together some sessions with really an international focus. All the sessions will be in the Breakers F room, and they will be contiguous. So starting on 10:30 on the opening address with Frank Schoenlein of the Germany DCOUG, and going all the way through to the afternoon. We then have some follow-up sessions on that day, so the first of the Explorer series sessions does go throughout the entire day. And you can find the session IDs on the left-hand side. You can also add those session IDs to the OAUG application, downloadable on your iPhone, Google device. So what are we covering in the Explorer series for the International? Well, we're going to focus on a few things. The first one is e-business suite rollouts in Europe and the Middle East. So there are special considerations that companies need to have when they go into EMEA And there are special challenges, whether it's taxes, VAT taxes, withholding taxes, statutory requirement, and statutory reporting, and those are going to be one of the main focuses. And you'll see that throughout the rest of the sessions. The following session is a session on GRC, Governance, Risk, and Compliance. And it's focused on something on smart factories. So smart factories are factories which use intelligence and additional tools to allow quicker and more mobile manufacturing. And you're going to give an insight into how smart manufacturers are challenging current approaches in GRC and, of course, security management. Next presentation is European rollout of Oracle Enterprise applications. This is actually a use case. We do love to present use cases at the Oracle Applications Users Group. It is, as I said, a user conference, and is actually applicable experience expertise. So this presentation is G, and talk about how they manage and the business and business change. We do have a keynote, which is the main focus of this series of sessions, strategy for EMEA. So two presentations focusing specifically on EMEA. One, the first presentation I mentioned is specifically business configuration challenges as relates to the Oracle applications. This presentation by Cliff Godwin will focus on the e-business suite tailored to customers with needs from EMEA. So Cliff is from Oracle, and he is the Director of Development for the Oracle e-business suite, and we're very fortunate to get him to speak with us on this topic. Next, we'll have a panel discussion. Panel discussions are not necessarily presentation focused, but really it is a group of Oracle applications users and experts which kind of give a multifaceted view about a particular topic. This one, it's Anglo-American pragmatism versus Central European precision. There's a bunch of great experts on this panel, some of which I know personally. I myself am really looking forward to it. Next presentation is one for Oracle ERP Cloud for Startups. So this is another user presentation which will focus on a German company and how they focused and decided which Oracle ERP system was right for them. So this particular presentation is the first one that you're going to see that focuses on Oracle ERP Cloud. Many of the other presentations that we'll see, whether it's in the approval series or the master data series, focus on topics ranging from, and believe it or not, there are a number of customers out there still running 11i. They'll talk about the transition from 11i to 12, and then of course the changes that are in cloud. So as I said, this particular presentation is a focus on the German use of the Oracle ERP Cloud and how it is beneficial for some young tech companies. The next two presentations, the first one focuses on ledgers and multi-org. So as I said, one of the other presentations that we're doing in the Employer series focuses on what we're calling master data from regards to the Oracle applications. This presentation focuses on components of that master data, focusing on a European implementation. The goal of this presentation is to show how you can operate in as streamlined an Oracle applications footprint as possible. Again, that is leveraging some of the functionalities available on R12, such as MOAC and multi-ledger accounting. Our next presentation is the Oracle e-business suite and the European automotive industry. This is, again, another end-user presentation. And that is the International Explorer series. Next, we're going to give you a little preview of the Master Data Explorer series, 11i through Cloud. So what we have here on the left-hand side is just a brief structure of what we mean by master data. And then we have a description of what that means. Master data and reference data are commonly confused. Typically, when customers think of master data, we're really talking about customers, data stewardship, or suppliers or items. And we, of course, as consultants that are giving this presentation, know that quite well. However, because we work with Oracle so intimately, we're actually kind of transforming the paradigm and using master data as it represents to your core configuration requirements and how it's changed from 11i through Cloud. Here's the sessions that will be covered in the Master Data Explorer series. Again, all sessions are in Breakers F. Nice thing about the Explorer series, OAUG has been kind enough to allow us to give all of our presentations in a single room. So if you decide you want to participate in any or all of the Explorer series, you'll be able to go to Breakers F, which is in the Mandalay Bay Convention Center, and kind of park yourself there. So these sessions are on Tuesday. We're going to start with legal entities from 11i through Cloud. That is given by myself. Next session will focus on business groups. That's really an interesting presentation because business groups did a lot less in 11i and 12 and are way more important in Cloud. The way you can structure those really has some interesting ramifications from an HCM perspective. Timothy Walsh from J Global will be giving that presentation. Our presentation after lunch is going to focus on chart of accounts, ledgers, primary and secondary, and adjusting ledgers. That's going to be given by Melissa Johnston from KEST. Ledgers, primary and secondary are real concepts that are available for the mostly in R12. You did not have the concept of multiple ledgers or secondary ledgers in 11i. If you needed to do that, you had to do something called MRC, or multiple reporting currency, or use consolidations. Those concepts of primary and secondary ledgers were introduced in R12, and they have continued in the Oracle Cloud. Next presentation is Operating Units and Inventory Orgs and Multi-Organization Access Control, or MOAC. And that's going to be given by Anil Patel of Fujitsu America. And finally, we have our use case. This is given by my friend Hans Colby of Cilantro Systems. Hans is going to give some very specific use cases based upon customer implementations that he has personally worked, as well as presentations and presentation ideas that he has gotten from the OAUG. So he's going to focus on the configuration and use of multiple operating units and the challenges that that presents to multinational organizations. Here we have the abstracts of each of those sessions. As Mike said at the beginning, this presentation will be available for download. So if you do not want to look through the Oracle Applications Users Group app on your phone or the OAUG website for these particular sessions or abstracts, you will be able to get them from this presentation, which will be available shortly after we are concluded. As I said, the first presentation focuses on legal entities. In the initial use of 11i, they did not have a great meaning, but that use of legal entities has increased in R12 and is even of greater importance in the cloud applications. Business groups have been around since really the beginning of Oracle apps. And remember to set up business group. And most of us that really weren't familiar with what it did set up a lot of companies using it to set up business groups. If only we knew now what we knew then, probably wouldn't have done that. But this presentation will focus on what the effect of the business group is and how it relates not only from an HCM perspective, but also from a financials perspective as well. And we have our chart of accounts and operating units and MOAC. Both these presentations will focus on the evolution. Really prior, we'll focus on 11i. Again, for those customers that are still using 11i, there are certain things you can learn. And both these sessions will focus on that. And we'll talk through the evolution of those constructs from 11i to R12 and then into Cloud. The operating units, inventory, and multi-org access session should be particularly interesting for any of those folks that are on R12 and considering going to Cloud. And finally, we have our use cases. So users have to make very difficult choices when they have to decide how to construct their environment. You have many different business decisions and business users making requests of your organization and your consultants. The goal of this presentation is to talk through some use cases and identify how those use cases are identified by supplier and customer data, master data and reference data, and what things you want to consider when making those decisions. Next, we have the approval series, 11i through Cloud. So approvals, what I have here is the good old workflow builder. This was introduced in 11i. How it migrated to Oracle Approvals Management Engine in R12. And then, of course, it went to the BPM, or Business Process Manager, in Cloud. So we have 4 presentations we were given on Wednesday, April 13th. Again, all sessions are in Breakers F. And we'll have a deep dive into each of these topics. First one is Oracle Approvals, EBS and Cloud, Key Concepts and Terms. So starting in 11i and going through 12, there are certain components, whether it's Workflow, Approvals Management Engine, or Business Process Monitor, which have key components and key concepts. Stan Cohen of DeNovo is going to give a deep dive into that. Our next presentation is Approvals in 11i using AME, Workflow, Employees and Positions. And we were fortunate enough to get Karen Brownfield to give that presentation for us. Karen Brownfield is an Oracle ace and has been giving presentations and helping users out for quite a long time. She actually started when she was 5 because she's only 25 now, so we're fortunate that we've been able to have her do this presentation for us. Our next presentation is approvals in R12, what's the latest story? And we have John Peters who's going to give that presentation for us. And then finally, we have approvals in cloud, new and improved. And that will focus on what you can do using the business process monitor, changes you can make, and changes you are not recommended to make in cloud for a variety of reasons. That will be given by Lee Briggs, also of the Novo Ventures. So, a little deeper into what these sessions are going to cover and why. So, Oracle approvals, EBS and cloud, key concepts and terms. Again, this is for those customers that are running 11i on 12 or on cloud, and you want to get a better understanding of the core components which make up approvals and their different facets in the different releases of Oracle. Next presentation focuses on approvals specifically in 11i. So for those still running 11i and you want to have a deeper understanding of what you can do in 11i, this presentation, as I said, is given by Karen Brownfield and should be very informative for you, for those of you still using 11i and need to make changes in your business process. Next is approvals in R12. Some new functionality was introduced in the latest release of Oracle Applications. The latest release of Oracle Applications is 12.2. 12.2 saw the introduction of a new data architecture or technical architecture in the Oracle Applications. The underlying tech structure is very different from 12.2 as it was in 12.1. As a result of that technical architecture change, you actually can have online patching to the database and to the applications tier. With some of those constructs, Oracle changed the way that the HTML forms are presented, and it gives you a little bit more flexibility with regard to what can show on the screen. Some enhancements that came along with that were in approvals and purchasing. This presentation is going to focus on that. Again, that's given by John Peters. And finally, we'll have approvals in cloud and the different tools that you can use. This session will focus on release 10. I will tell you that the Oracle Cloud Applications release 11 is scheduled to release. General availability is at some point in February. So Lee Briggs is currently working on his slides now, focused on R10 because that is released, it's out. But I can assure you that release 11 will be out and stable by the time this presentation is given. So that's a great reason to come to the session because I'm sure Lee will have updated slides and topics to cover the new functionality that will be coming out in release 11. So this is a little sneak preview of some things we're going to cover in the Master Data series. And the reason you're getting a sneak preview of this one is because I'm actually one of the presenters in that series. So we're going to talk a little about Master Data, what it is and why it's important. We'll differentiate between Master Data and reference data. Talk a little bit the deep dive on legal entities. So what do legal entities do? Why are they used and why are they important? The definitions we see on the screen here are applicable whether you're using legal entities in 11i, 10.7, all the way up through cloud. A legal entity must comply. You have to have a tax identification number, they have to be registered someplace, and they are the entities which ultimately are responsible for the running of the company. No matter how your company is structured, there has to be a legal entity under it. You can have operating, holding entities, or transacting entities, but in one way or the other, those legal entities are responsible for your reporting to whomever you are responsible to. So this is a snapshot of the difference in legal entities 11i through cloud. In 11i, legal entities, the operating unit and set of books were interdependent. It did limit your structure. So the main thing that came from that was if you had a complex EMEA structure, the usual structure was 1 to 1 to 1, meaning you would have one legal entity, one operating unit, and one ledger. This was a simplistic operation and made implementations a little easier, but it did limit your localization and statutory reporting. In R12 and cloud, they are now decoupled. So legal entities can manage and own jurisdictions and they manage requirements. However, they allow for more flexible global structure. The main things legal entities do in both R12 and cloud is they drive intercompany transactions. They can also be used to drive taxes. So great functionality that came out in 12 that is available in cloud. You could have a functional currency and functional taxation that is different within the same ledger. So if, for example, you had a U.S. operations and a Canadian operations, and elected to have your functional currency in Canada be USD, you could still drive taxation based on the legal entity and have a single OU with different taxing rules. Business units or operating units are only needed for data striping and user security. So in our sessions, we're going to drill down on each one of these boxes and talk about how legal entities affect all the entities and relationships that you see before you. The next session will talk about business groups, what they do, how they relate to work structures in HCM, and also how they affect reporting and roll-ups in the cloud. Talk about the different responsibilities that you can utilize when you have security using MOAC, which is for operating units, or also global security, which can be business unit specific. If you have any questions, you have to come see us in Las Vegas, as this was only an introductory series. We have over 15 speakers presenting in the Explorer series. A lot of them are consultants, so they are leaders in their field, but we're also very fortunate to have a number of end-user companies and specific end users presenting for us. OAUG is a user conference. It is run by the users and is run for the users. So we do urge users to come out and participate. If you do have questions before we collaborate, you'd like to get them answers, please feel free to send me an email at tsimkus@denovo-us.com, and you can also ping me on Twitter. With that, Mike, I want to hand it back over to you in case there are any questions that we can get in before the timeline.
All right, thank you very much, Tom. If you have any questions, go ahead and type them into the question box of your control panel, and we can ask them. All right, I'm not seeing any questions, so we'll go ahead and I'd like to thank Tom for his fantastic presentation. We hope this helps the attendees get a better perspective of what the Exploration Series is for Collaborate, and we hope to see everyone at Collaborate. This concludes the session. Have a great afternoon.